So my name's Lydall, co-chair of G4C, which is Generation for Change. It's part of Constructing Excellence, which is a not-for-profit organisation focused on development and improvement of the construction industry through collaboration, improved productivity and better understanding. And G4C is the Junior Staff Initiative, a group that's free to join and for volunteers who are passionate about making a difference in our industry. So I was asked to come here to answer the question, what is the industry's response to the statement, education matters in construction? I thought, well, this is easy. That's yes, isn't it? Then I thought, oh no, I've got a bit of a time slot here, so I better look a bit more in depth into that. So how does G4C and what we do relate in? Why am I here? Well, G4C generate content. We generate discussion and understanding based on the future of the construction industry. And this includes issues, innovations and advancements outside of industry and piecing together how they will change the future. People going through education right now, apprentices and graduates and those entering the industry are our future. They will lead our industry in the future, and I'm sure you and I and they are as interested in what that future holds. So my point here is I wanted to answer a few questions about education and construction. So why does our education matter? Who is impacted by education and what education can do for us? And how will education as a concept change in the future of the industry and the changes that are coming about through data and technology and all those things that you've heard about in the previous talks. So I wanted to start actually on a bit of a doom and gloom step. The current construction industry is a melting pot of issues and problems and shortages and need for talent and all those things. But then also wanted to draw attention to the fact, and to quote Andrew Wolstenholme here, never waste a good crisis. So every single one of those issues that we've come across, that we're aware of, that we're trying to tackle is an opportunity, a huge opportunity, and an opportunity that people coming into this industry are probably going to realise the true value of. So construction is a melting pot of problems and solutions, forward-thinking, innovation and necessity. And it's a forefront of global concerns of today. And I don't think that is part of the current branding of the industry for people hoping to, or looking for a career, looking for what they want to do with their life and what their vocation is going to be. Some of these things are, things that new people in education might not be aware of, such as technology and data, communication and community, sustainability and innovation, to name a few. And the next slide is a slide just to cover a few high-level issues or themes which G4C are looking into currently, which we hope will actually get people thinking. So we've not necessarily got all the answers yet, but we're just hoping we're asking the right questions. So obviously we're here today to talk about skill shortage and what that means. I could possibly propose that is actually a selling point, because we could say that this industry really wants you. This industry has a driving force behind it that is saying we need you, we need new people to come into this industry, which is a huge pulling factor for people in education. Also, we could say to them, there is an issue of the problem that their job doesn't probably exist yet. So they're probably educating themselves for a job which is yet to be invented or yet to be created. Based on the trajectory of technology and innovation and change, their skills, the skills that they'll be needing and utilising every day in 10, 20 years' time, we don't know what they are at this point in time. But then as touched on previously by Ross and a couple of the other talks, what is needed is a base understanding of education and also a concept of flexibility and creativity. And something that I'm quite keen to highlight at this point, which is that education shouldn't be seen as a point where you get to a level and then you're educated. It's a continuous and iterative process throughout your entire career. And that's going to become far, far more important for future careers as skills and requirements and products and outcomes are going to change and develop and improve. So drones, robots, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automatic doors, it's all very Star Trek. But actually that's happening now. And automation, data, digitization and machine learning, they're a concept that we've been looking into. In fact, actually in parallel to the skill shortage. So on the one hand, we're saying we've got a skill shortage. We don't have enough people for all the jobs we have. We've got loads of jobs and there's no people. And then on the digitization side, we're saying actually a robot's going to do your job for you in the future, so we don't need you anymore. We've got too many people for the jobs. So are they a mismatch? Are they going to cancel one another out? Or are they two completely misaligned objectives, and we're actually talking about a skill shortage in terms of not the number of people we want, but the skills and the type of skills and the type of education that we're going to be looking for in the future. So that's a particular one of, personally of mine that I'm hoping to deliver at some point. I'm doing an event coming up very soon, which I hope you can all come to. Another one that is an event we're hoping to pull out is productivity. So in terms of being more efficient, this little cartoon, I don't know whether you can see it quite well, is a man with a round wheel saying, "Ah," and then someone who's got square wheels trying to cycle really, really hard, so he can't stop, too busy. It's all about getting rid of the huge amount of waste that's inherent in the construction industry and other industries. We're not alone in that. In terms of physical waste, but also financial waste and time waste. We need to do better at what we do and how we do it. And it also links into a circular economy rather than a waste economy, which links in as well to our sustainability and environmental aspects as well. So we need new options, new procurement solutions, new collaborative relationships, new organisational and project management solutions in there. I've also put health and safety in the middle there. As we know as professionals, health and safety is the number one thing, and it's all rammed down our throats that we really need to do health and safety, and everyone finds it really boring. Because if it's successful, health and safety is boring. Health and safety success is a complete lack of incidents, is a complete lack of anything happening, anything interesting, because interesting automatically means something went wrong and it's failed. But also I'd like to link across that in G4C we're come to the realization that with communication channels and the power of the masses to publicize and to draw attention and to create their own brands and to impact the brands of large companies, it's not just the media anymore. It's not just a few very important heads of newspapers who are dictating what people are interested in and what people read. Every person has that ability to publicise and promote their own agenda, and sometimes to the detriment of companies. So that is a concern or a consideration that should be taken into account more and more as companies go through. But also on the health and safety aspect, we're thinking in terms of it's not just about the safety. There is a huge emphasis on safety because the impacts of safety are immediate and they are more immediately apparent. So there's a lot more PR for that. But in fact, health and the issues of health may be mental or long-term or cancer induced by asbestos and that sort of thing is actually a bigger killer than safety. It has a higher impact. And how do we address that? How do we get to the core of what those drivers are and address those and make sure that the health side of thing is as equally boring as safety is. Another one is open data. So we've had a series of talks on open data, which are actually links on our website. Several roundtable discussions, which are videoed with a debate between experts in different areas. There's the long version, there's the short version. I would encourage you to start with the short version and then realise how interesting it is and try out the long version. Because open data as a concept is something that in Europe and America is still a little bit of an unknown quantity. In Asia and parts of Asia, open data is default. It's the default situation for public information. And there's been huge success based on that, based on the fact that that thousands of people have the opportunity to manipulate, to try out, to create new things for a huge amount of data. It's not just refined down to a couple of developers that the employer has decided are the solution. So the entire country, the entire world even, can access that data, produce interesting things and apps and applications and results and answers from that data. So that's something that we're trying to encourage. It's not about hoarding your data, it's about finding better ways to use your data. The data itself is not important and not valuable in any way. It's just streams of zeros and ones in the end. It's how you use that data and what you find from that data and the systems you use to interpret it that is the true value. So that's one thing that we are in the progress of doing at the moment. It's one of our more mature work streams. We've also got sustainability and social value and responsibility. This is just in response to the global resources being used up. As said previously, there's a huge concern of people coming into industry, coming into careers at the moment. There's also links in with social value and social responsibility. So companies can't get away with just being very, very wasteful anymore. There's huge social impact from that. There's huge commercial issues with that. Which even if you're not personally interested in making sure that there is a world for our future generations to inhabit, which I think is a huge concern, then it's your immediate commercial concerns as well that are going to start to be impacted by sustainability and social value. So we need to use our existing resources better. We need to link into a sharing economy, to a circular economy, new ways of working remotely and more efficiently. And possibly reusing assets in a more efficient way. So using the same asset multiple times, such as with Uber and a couple other examples that completely slipped my mind at the moment. One other thing that we're looking into and asking questions about is our built heritage. So as mentioned previously, most of the houses are going to be standing in 2050, where we set our targets for a reduced amount of energy, reduced growth, and all those lovely improved growth. Are going to be based on the energy efficiency of existing assets. So there's all those Victorian houses with the huge drafty windows and the thin, solid walls. And how do we get those to incentivize those people, those private owners, to improve their assets? So we've already given them, governments have already given them incentivization and free upgrades and that sort of thing, and that's not working. How do we make sure that that is actually an immediate and fundamental concern of everyone who has a leaky old Victorian house? And also urban densification. So these are beautiful old quaint Victorian terraces, but they're not actually that dense in terms of the number of people living them in that square footage of area. Not necessarily saying that we should all live in high-rise, but maybe we could think of ways of increasing the number of people living in those properties through roof extensions or that sort of thing, and see where we go from there. So there's lots of developments in terms of domestic, but also commercial that we could be looking into. And then one that's very interesting for me and has raised a lot of questions and not a lot of answers is the sharing economy and new ways of working. So what does the future hold, and how's it going to be shaped, and how are people coming into the industry today going to be working in the future? One piece of research I was reading recently was saying that there's going to be there is developing a people cloud. So there's a sharing economy of people as a resource. So tasks can be completed by people remotely from the company, and they are paid per task. Is that the new way of things happening? Is that going to be how work gets done in the future? Is permanent employment going to be a thing of the past? Are we going to have the client, the tier 1, the tier 2, the tier 3s and all the suppliers as that hierarchy, or are we all just going to employ directly for get the spark, you get the plumber to come in and do their bit and just miss out the entire hierarchy? Is it going to be more of a lattice or matrix than a hierarchy going forward? So that has huge impacts for our industry, how we work, and also how an individual will work, whether they are at their own company, and what a company is going to be in the future, and who owns those assets. So that's a brief overview of some of the things we're looking into. So all of those themes, all of those issues, all of those problems are an opportunity, and we're hoping to capitalise on those questions, on those necessities which drive invention and drive innovation. And so from an industry perspective, what does the industry need? And what does it mean for you as employers and as recruiters, and also for new people coming into the industry? The industry needs flexibility. We need diverse capability and creativity. So robots are going to come in and they're going to do the boring bits. They're going to do the repetitive bits. Machine learning is going to do the automation or the calculations, and we're going to have BIM to do all the automatic calculations, the embedded information within the drawings and the virtual reality, which then be embedded and understood in our physical assets. So in that respect, we want the people to be doing the interesting jobs, the creative jobs, the innovative jobs, and there needs to be a huge flexibility in their skill sets to be able to address those requirements and those skills. And the market is changing, so maybe what if information became more important, more valuable than currency? What if information was the new way of quantifying your impact and your power in the human hierarchy? Maybe the capitalist economy has had its time. Maybe we're moving on to a new economy. We're seeing that in different economies, such as Airbnb coming in and taking over from all the hotels, from Uber coming in and destroying the black cab industry. So maybe that is the start of a new economy. That's the start of a way of distributing wealth and finance, which is unthought of at the moment. And maybe the world economies will merge as the people cloud takes off. So if someone in Nepal can do a job for £2 and someone in Britain is trying to compete with them and they have to live off, they would need £200 to complete that task and be able to live comfortably in Britain. Maybe that's going to equal those economies and cause it to be a global economy rather than a national economy, and the currency differences between them. So all these things are, the things that make me want to go to spend my spare time doing G4C and voluntary voluntary jobs and roles. And I'm hoping that that's what the brand for our future generation of people can also do. So what does that mean for them, and what does that mean for you? They're the generation that will shape our future. So they're in a position to develop themselves and skills and their outlooks, and prepare themselves to take advantage of the niche markets and the new skill sets and the new ways of doing things that will occur during the course of their career and during the course of the rest of our careers as well. And the main point I want to reiterate was that education is not a finite, yes, I've achieved that level, I'm there. It's a continuing and progressive and interesting as well process, which everyone here, I'm sure, as part of this day, is happy to take part in and sees a necessity for. Thank you very much.